Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. You see the thumbnail, a name, Unique Mecca. He's got a YouTube channel called Unique Mecca Audio, and he runs a real good channel, straight up guy. And I apologize for not getting approval because I would like to show more respect and say, can I do a video about you, Mecca? But this is more or less going to be just a platonic video and everything. But in New York City, you had the boroughs and you had, Queens, Bronx, Harlem and everything, and Unique Mecca operated out of Harlem, and he was the biggest, he was running the show down there, moving a lot of weight. And he was like the modern day Tony Montana, the cartels, and he was moving a lot of weight, the most weight. And so a couple years ago, he got busted, and he did 26 and a half years. And he finally got out. He's pushing 60 years older. He just turned 60. Happy birthday, Unique. You probably will never watch this, but and he never ratted. And you see how many mob stories I've done with the people that just rat and rat and rat and rat and rat to save their own ass. And as a guy that was familiar with the Italian mafia families and everything else, just running around as an errand boy or whatnot, you've seen the damage of the ratting that went on. A lot of times these feds didn't even have much to go on. They would bluff, and then people just spill the beans. But I give Unique Mecca, his channel name is Unique Mecca Audio, and he was in the record industry. He rubbed elbows with the biggest players ever. And he's got a great YouTube channel. And he does try to throw a good message in there. And he tells us prison stories. And it's just like he tells the viewers, don't do what I did. He says that was a glamorous time with cars, money, and great wealth. But sometimes he says he doesn't think it was worth those 26 years. So he's a straight up guy. And I apologize for any disrespect. But he's a straight up guy. And I wanted to do this video like where he was running an operation when the crack came out and everything else. And people say, well, you poison the community and everything else. And, but the individual is accountable for their actions. The user is accountable for their actions. When I overdosed years ago, all I thought when I laid in bed in the hospital, when I get out, I'm going to get that dealer. That's all I thought about day after day, laying in my hospital bed. I'm going to get that dealer. I know where he is. I'm going to ambush him. And I thought, Joe, what are you, stupid? You went and did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. I know Unique has expressed that he said, well, you know what? I mean, people could look at that differently. Life goes on. But people are accountable for their own actions. They didn't like that crack. You didn't like that crack pipe up or whatever. There's a lot out of there at people's disposable. I mean, there's a lot of things out there, good and bad, that people could partake in. Some partake, some don't. But the responsibility is on that person. Oh, well, if that wasn't out there for me to do, I wouldn't have did it. Well, no, at the end of the day, I see Unique Mecca has a heart, and he says, well, maybe, I poisoned somebody else would have done it. But does that carry any strength? But he didn't rat. And I saw a lot of guys turn back in the day, and it was different. Like Unique's organization is structured a little different than like there's 5 mob families in New York, and then they're jockeying for things and stay in your geographical area, stay in this geographical area. But some people say, how come the mafia let all that business, all those millions of dollars, go to Unique, go to his other partners? How did they let that happen? Well, Unique knows the answer, and Unique just thinks the Italians were soft on that, and he has a right to his opinion. But as a matter of respect or not, but see, the mafia families were under a oath not to deal drugs, and it still happened. So it's just like, well, the answer to your question would be, oh, well, the mob didn't deal drugs, so they could let Unique Mecca rock and roll all over the place and earn millions of dollars because that's their business. We don't dabble in that. We dabble in other rackets and loan sharking and other types of shakedown maneuvers and gambling, bookmaking, and everything else. So it's like, geographically speaking, the mafia was over here, Unique's people were over here, and they ran their organizations, and they did what they did. But not that Unique's people would be afraid to take up bookmaking or loan sharking. They were making enough money. They were running a tight ship. But the 5 mob families and all the paranoia and distrust and all the ratting that was going on, it was a wide open rodeo. And some would say, well, how come the families, they dissolved, they disappeared because the government won and everything else? It was because people just couldn't. I mean, they didn't obey the omerta, which is the oath to follow the mob rules, and then when a Fed or somebody was threatening them with 10 years, 20 years, and then the RICO laws came, they just folded up like freaking lawn chairs. But Unique Mecca didn't give anybody up. Unique Mecca didn't give anybody up. Yeah. And that's honorable. And when you go to prison and you don't rat, it's the right and responsibility of that organization to take care of your family. Now, I don't know what they did with Unique Mecca, if he had enough money in the background to support his people, his family, his children. But in the mafia, the Italian mafia, if you go away and you didn't rat, they're supposed to take care of you. I did that video on my cousin that did in Atlanta, and they paid him. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on, but okay, you do the bid, you don't rat. When you get out, here's X amount of dollars. And that's what transpired. But I'd like to compare and contrast, because Unique Mecca Audio's got a YouTube channel with almost 60,000 subscribers. He's really good at telling the stories. He's very likable. He tells it like it is. And you get an insight. He calls them jewels. He spits a lot of jewels out to the viewers, which you would never hear from any other kingpin out there. So everybody that was all thrilled about Scarface, and well, this guy was him and more. And he took that bid like a man. 26 years. He took it like a man. There were guys crumbling and ratting with 10 years hanging over their head. And it was just, you know, I like the Colombo family and the Gambino family are more or less bounced off each other, the other families, but we're geographically located. But, you know, Brooklyn, but you wonder how they stayed in each one of their lanes. And you know, Mike Francis, God bless him. He's got the biggest mob channel there. And I remember years ago running around and they're like, oh, they never did drugs. The mob never sold drugs. My godfather, that was an enforcer for hire for any family for the right price, he used to just tell me, yeah, they try to portray that, Joe, you know, but some of them try to do a side hustle and sell drugs without the boss knowing. Some of them got dealt with, but some of them rode under the radar and they were making deals for cocaine deals with maybe guys like Unique over down in Harlem to grab some weight and then go sell it through Brooklyn under the radar. But a lot of the bosses and captains were getting packages, nice packages from the soldiers, and they wouldn't ask questions a lot of times. It wasn't just from rackets and bookmaking. There might have been another little Scooby snack in there. And so that money changes the rules a lot of times. Not all the time, but sometimes it changes the rules. And Mike Francis, God bless him, Christian, tells the best mob stories. And I mean, he flat out came out and says, nah, the mob, like he was the spokesman for all 5 families, like to say, no, the mob didn't deal drugs. Like maybe if your crime family didn't sell drugs, it doesn't mean the other 4 families didn't, but maybe your crime family did sell drugs. So don't believe that, ladies and gentlemen. But you see all these mob channels out there, and they're getting a perspective about organized crime, the rules of the mafia, and everything else. But geographically, right there, New York, there's other people rocking and rolling, like Unique Mecca, the biggest drug kingpin around. And that's not to defame him or glorify him. It's just, it is what it is. And if you compare and contrast the 2 different types of organizations, I would think it would be easier not to minimize. There's probably some blood and guts that Unique Mecca probably came across to try to maintain. You know, you got Colombians and other world syndicates that are trying to get a foothold of that money. So yeah, there's bloodshed and gory stories in all of in all these operations, but distribution and other organizational things are just more of the staple things you need to address. Yeah. All right, Mario and Leon. And there's a guy, Unique Mecca Audio, that's got a YouTube channel, and he's from New York, and he run tons and tons of kilos of cocaine and crack out of New York City back in the late 80s and early. And he's out of prison, and he runs a good YouTube channel. And he tells prison stories good. He tells when he was on the street stories good. It's a real good channel called Unique Mecca, Mecca Audio. And you're getting firsthand dialogue, firsthand stories, great prison stories, but when he was on the streets. And And I just give a little commentary about, the mafia was down there, the Italian mafia was down there, and they're running their businesses side by side, Harlem, Manhattan, New York City. And, geographically, people stayed where they stayed, but you would think the mafia wanted in on some of that action that Unique Mecca was getting. But you could give a lot of dialogue and rationalize why this and that happened. But, we think the Italian mobsters were tougher than Unique Mecca's, and Unique Mecca's people think they were tougher than it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. It's just who could run their businesses and survive and stay out of jail. But the man did almost 27 years, didn't rat at all. He got life for he was under the impression he was going to spend his whole life in prison without parole, and he didn't rat. It wasn't like he was going to do a 30-year bid and get out. He didn't rat under the impression that he would be locked up forever. And that is honorable because for all the people that watch the Mafia Mob channels and who ratted, who did this, then some played both sides of the fence. You're in with the feds, you're in with your crew, and then you're just playing both sides of the fence. Some were even on the federal payroll, and they're just playing both sides of the fence. But it's easy to criticize and knock and everything else after the fact until you're in those shoes. But I know one thing, to not rat. I didn't know a lot. I got shook down, but I was like, I don't know nothing. I know you got nothing on me, so I can't. There's nothing. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. So that's that. I mean, and if I did know something, I wouldn't say nothing because there's no statute of limitations on a lot of things. But I didn't do shit. So, but they come at you, they try to bluff you and everything. And I wrote some stuff in my book, They Dead Missed, about the FBI and the relationship that went on, boom, 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 and what transpired there. But a lot of different tactics, bluff moves, a lot of different things go on. And they really try to mess your mind up. And, they could be telling you lies about your crew and this and that. And they're already telling on you. They're playing all these psychological warfare games on a person, and it's do or die. They're getting interrogated, and it's like, do they flip? And then if you're in the cell, they might come up and see you and go, oh, listen, come over here and, let's talk things over, and maybe we could figure something out because they want you to rat or whatever, like shit like that. But Unique Mecca just told him, I'll do my time. And he was under the impression of doing life. So that's that, folks. Go to Unique Mecca Audio. He's got a good channel there. And he wrote a book called Aurora in Harlem. And it must be one hell of a book. And Aurora in Harlem, ROAR in Harlem. And if you don't read books and you're going to read a book, I want that book. I got my book, They Dead Missed. It's a good book. I put my as a great writer and a good storyteller, but that stuff there, Aurora in Harlem. So go to his channel. He's rising up fast. He's a good storyteller, and he never read it. And there are people that you think your homeboy or somebody that you run with and your blood brother, so to speak, and you are tight and you're connected at the hip. Next thing you know, they're signing statements. They're signing statements. Well, what this? No, what? Well, so Unique Mecca Audio, I apologize for for not understanding and being a little nuts. I apologize, Mecca, Unique Mecca. I applaud what you're doing. You tell great stories, and I applaud that you weren't a rat. And that's all I can say pertaining to that. It's survival down in New York and all the boroughs and everything, and it's a lot to sort out. But hats off to a man that was looking at life and didn't narc. He did 27 years, but he thought he was going to do life, and he didn't narc. I seen guys piss their pants looking at 10 years, and they were narking on people. They were pissing their pants over it. So they might have got dealt with later, though. That's another story. Because sometimes the rat gets the cheese, and sometimes the cheese gets the rat. But that's it, folks. God bless everybody out there. I wish the best for Unique Mecca Audio. He tells the greatest stories out there. And he's the Scarface Tony Montana that you all seen them in the movie. Great stories, if that's what you like. That's great entertainment. So I wish everybody a good day. Summertime is here, and enjoy. Leon, Mario, have a good day. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.